Hi, sixth grade, it's Miss Keeley here. Sorry, in the last video, it was just kind of quietness. I didn't really feel like I needed to do kind of like a voiceover for that one. It was just you had to pick a bug that was symmetrical, same on both sides, and then just draw it out with pencil. And so some of you guys already sent me them in and attached them to the Google assignment, and they look awesome. I'm really excited to see how they come out. Um, Before I show you the next step, I just want to go over symmetry. This is something that you should have learned in younger years of school, but it is also something that you don't really always think about every day, so you might have forgotten. So symmetry, or when something is symmetrical, should look the same on both sides. So all these examples here, there's a line of symmetry going through the middle, kind of slicing them in half, and they are the same on both sides. When something is not the same, you can say that it's asymmetrical. So here are just some examples of artwork that are symmetrical, same on both sides, if you were to draw a line through the middle. And then there's some that are not symmetrical. So you could say that they're asymmetrical. So you should have all chosen a bug, and I attached a lot of different examples on that PowerPoint that I sent out last week. So you should have picked one and you should have it drawn by now in pencil like this. Just a pencil drawing, nice and big, filling up most of your paper. And it should, if you were to draw a line or cut it in half, it should look the same on both sides. Um, Before I press play on this, I just want to explain this project. I'm going to give you guys kind of a long time to work on this. Probably about, we just worked on it last week. We're going to work on it this week, and then probably 2 more weeks after that, depending on how much you get done, because I don't want to overwhelm you guys with a lot of work, um, because I understand that you're getting work from all your other teachers. So I don't want to give you these really time-consuming projects. I just want to give you a project step that you should work on like 10 to 15 minutes at a time, once a week. Or maybe you work on it a little bit one day, you pick it up and work on it another day. Um, so that's why I'm going to start breaking down our projects into smaller steps. Okay, so today's step, you are going to need a black marker. If you have a Sharpie, awesome, use that. If you do not have a Sharpie, use just a regular black marker. If you don't have that, you could use a black colored pencil or a black crayon. If you do have smaller details on your bug, though, you're going to want something kind of with a finer tip, like a marker, okay? And so you are pretty much just tracing over everything you just drew. So taking that Sharpie, going over all those pencil lines. If you are using a Sharpie, make sure you put a piece of paper underneath so it doesn't bleed through onto the table or whatever you're working on. And then you're going to go in with an eraser and just erase those pencil lines, because that is a part of craftsmanship in making your project neat and nice. So just erase any pencil lines. Once you have that done, we're going to start today adding color. And I printed out the bug that I picked. You guys should be able to find color versions of yours online. Or maybe yours is not as colorful and you want to just make up your own colors. You can definitely do that. I wanted to have some fun with this, so I picked one that was really challenging. It had a lot of different colors kind of blended, and it had this kind of shiny look to it. So I personally was challenging myself. You guys, obviously, I want you to challenge yourself, but you can color yours in a different way. It doesn't need to be as realistic, but the goal of this next step of adding color is to really focus on blending colors, and trying your best to make it look realistic to what you are doing. So I had just printed that out so you could kind of see, and so that way I had it in front of me. Obviously, if you have your computer, you can use your computer, but my computer was being used to record this, so I just printed out one. And then you can kind of have some choice as to what you want to use to add color, my suggestion is going to be color pencil. Um, because it is going to be the easiest to blend your colors together. Um, it's not going to be messy like paint would be, and you could use crayon, but crayon is a good option. But if you have color pencils, I would use color pencils. I think it's the best option. And so I was just testing out colors up top. That's something I like to do. Um, Especially I have a bunch of different shades of colors. So um, yeah. Anyway, so you are going to look at your bug and you're going to start to kind of fill in colors. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing like color blocked areas. And I'm not going to be focused on too much if your bug is not colored symmetrical, although this is pretty much the same on both sides. There just are other areas that are a little bit maybe more blue on one side than on the other. Um, and so I'm just trying to focus in on where I see these different shades and I'm just filling it in with that color. So I'm focusing on all my blues first, and I'm also only focusing on the top area first. I don't want you to get overwhelmed and do the whole thing. Just pick one little area to start, okay? Um, and so when you're blending, if you've ever blended with color pencils before, um, basically you're just kind of layering and overlapping your colors. If you want it to blend a little bit more smoothly, you would put down one color and then slowly take off some pressure and kind of fade out the color so it's a little bit lighter. And that way, when you go in with a new color, it will blend a little bit more together. And so I'm really just doing kind of little different blocks and areas of color, kind of like in a zigzag fashion to kind of fill in the color that way. But again, you guys can kind of have your own artistic freedom of how you're coloring it, but this should be something that takes you a long time to color. I don't want you to just color it to color it. I want you to actually focus on trying to make it look realistic, trying to blend in, and trying to focus in on some of those little details that um, you wouldn't normally focus in on, okay? And so you can see I'm really switching up my colors, trying to add and overlap and blend them together to create all this different texture and colors within my bug, my beetle, okay? And I'm gonna fast forward it so you can kind of see how it kind of comes out. I go back with certain colors, make it darker, um, add some shading. We just did that value project, some of you, where you go in and you add darker values. So don't be afraid to kind of push things darker or lighter. Um, and my advice is that when you are, hold on a second. Sorry, for a second I thought this video was not recording. Um, um, so what I was trying to say is, um, when you're coloring it this way, it might be a little bit frustrating because it might not look like you are really coloring it the correct way. Um, I know when I color things kind of this way and trying to make them look realistic, when I look at it, I get a little bit frustrated because it doesn't really look the way that it, like the example that I'm drawing the picture from. So my advice would be just keep going with it. Keep kind of adding different layers of color. Take a step back and look at your picture from afar to see how it's coming out. Or something I like to do is I like to take a picture of it with my phone and then be able to like look at it through my phone. Um, so yeah, that's my advice. And then, so you're only really doing one section of coloring for this. So at the end, I'm going to fast forward this. Um, this is pretty much all I did. I outlined it and then I did one section. Um, and it took me a long time. This whole video took me about 12 minutes to outline it and do this much of coloring. So it should take you a while. And like I said before, maybe you work on it 5 minutes one day, 5 minutes another day. Um, I'm breaking this down into small sections so that you're not um, getting too overwhelmed. Okay. And like I said, I'm going to give you this week, so this upcoming week, on, let's look at the dates. So this is going to be for Monday, April 6th. And you'll have all week to outline it and get this colored in. And then the 13th, the week of April the 13th, will be another step of coloring. And then if we need it, maybe even the 20th will be a third week of still adding and coloring details, okay? Because this is something that should take you guys a while. You should be taking your time. If you think about projects in art class, we don't just do them all in one class. It takes a while, okay? So, moving forward, if you want to send me a picture halfway, like after you finish each step of the project, you can. But if it's easier for you, then I will do a little posting that says I need to see a picture at the end. So that way I can check you off for your work. Okay. So if you don't want to submit a picture to me at like after this project step, then you don't need to. Just at the very end of the project, whether it's in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I will need to see a picture. Obviously, if you want to send it to me, I love seeing your artwork and the like progress of it. So definitely feel free to email me it or add it to the assignment if you'd like to. All right. Um, Email me or ask any questions that you have about this project. But until then, I will chat with you guys next week. All right. Bye.